Hey, it's another day where we are alive, and so is public health. I'm Jonathan Lyle Sexton. Welcome to Better Together. You know, on this podcast, we spend a lot of time on the hard stuff. Housing shortages, stigma, substance use, burnout, systems that don't work the way they should. Basically, we talk about the kind of topics that are extremely tense Thanksgiving dinners and deeply awkward first dates. And if you spent any time paying attention to the news lately, which, honestly, fair warning, can start feeling like everything is broken, everywhere, all at once. Big problems, big systems, big headlines delivered by people with very serious hair. You know, it's the kind of stories that make you feel like you personally are one bad afternoon away from getting a flip phone. Which is maybe why today feels a little different. Because today, we're not here to talk about what's broken. We're here to talk about what's working. I know. It sounds a little suspicious coming from us, a public health podcast. Public health is excellent at identifying problems. Speaking of which, we would love to hear your feedback on our community health. You can take our community health needs assessment survey at the link in the description below, or the link in our bio on any of our socials, or you can go to pphnh.org to find more information about it. See, public health can help map the disparities that our community faces. You can tell us yours at the survey. We track data. Again, take the survey so we can track that data. We publish reports based off survey data. And we generate acronyms faster than almost any field in existence. We map the gaps, but identifying what's going well, that's less our thing. Normally there's a but coming. There's always a but. But today there's no but. Today is just the good part. So let's talk about Pennsylvania. Bet you didn't think we were talking about Pennsylvania on this show. Well, guess what? There's other states that exist outside of New Hampshire. There's a small town. See, in Pennsylvania, there's a town called Rosetto. It's called Rosetto because this is one of my favorite stories in all of public health. We're going to talk about Rosetto, Pennsylvania. And I promise this is going to go somewhere, so just bear with me. See, decades ago, researchers noticed something genuinely strange happening in this small town. The residents had unusually low rates of heart disease, dramatically lower than neighboring communities. And when researchers started digging for the explanation, they kept coming up empty. See, it wasn't the diet. They were Italian immigrants, so they had a lot of red carbs, a lot of wine and alcohol. It wasn't their exercise. It wasn't access to some exceptional healthcare system. By most measurable standards, Rosetto residents were doing nothing particularly remarkable for their physical health. See, what they were doing was knowing each other. They were sharing meals, looking out for neighbors. They were functioning essentially as communities should be. In the fullest sense of the word, is the kind of where people notice when you're struggling and they show up anyway. See, it's either very comforting or catastrophically bad news for anyone trying to look-smacks their way to health. See, the answer wasn't the supplement industry. No. Unfortunately, it was neighbors, which brings us to today's guest, someone whose entire work is built around that same idea, through local good news, community highlights, and celebrating the people doing meaningful things close to home. She is in the business of connection, of reminding a community who it is and what it's capable of. And here's the part I enjoy. Normally, I'm the one showing up on her show to talk about community health or whatever event PPH is doing, but today we're going to flip the script, which felt only fair and also like something I should have done a long time ago. Because here's the thing about national news. It's very good at making us feel small. It makes us feel like the scale of the problems we're facing are so large that what we do in our small town on our street, it couldn't possibly matter. Local stories push back on that. They remind us that change still moves person to person, neighbor to neighbor. That sometimes public health doesn't look like a sweeping policy overhaul. Sometimes it just looks like someone who decided to pay attention to what's good and tell people about it consistently, on purpose. And maybe that is the real public health story today. Not that everything is fine, because it isn't. And we'll get back to the hard stuff here in the future, but there's local action that still matters. There's connection that can work. And that good news, it turns out, is not just a nice distraction from the real heavy stuff. It might actually be the real heavy stuff. So let's dig into that. Today's guest is Heather Bishop, who hosts the good news story of the day at Lakes 101.5. Unrock
and relax.
And relax. Unrock and relax. I was like, did I read that wrong? I didn't read it wrong. Heather has been in radio since 1992 and brings decades of experience telling stories that cut through the noise. Every weekday afternoon at 6:20, she shines a spotlight on the people, organizations, and everyday moments making a positive difference in central New Hampshire. Thanks for being here, Heather.
Well, thank you. It's weird being on this side.
That's one of our questions we were gonna ask is where. So usually I am on your show.
Usually you're sitting on the other end through a little piece of plate glass.
Yeah.
To kind of protect us. No, just because that's how my studio is set up.
And
so
you always have your big soundboard. You're in there. You're asking me questions about what cool things are happening at Partnership for Public Health.
Yeah.
And now I get to go in and ask you all the questions I want.
This is kind of weird.
It's
kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to kind of just start off by giving us some background in your long story in your long history?
My long history.
Back from the 1900s.
Yes.
In radio.
Yes. It started way back when to be honest with you, my first job in radio, before the internet.
Okay, what?
Let's go with that.
We're chiseling into stone.
There was this service called the AP, the Associated Press, and radio stations would purchase it, and they would have a printer that would just print off stories. So you couldn't choose. So part of my job was ripping the stories off the press and putting them on rusty nails so people who were on the air could be like, oh, I need a national story. It's on the national nail. I need the weather. It's on the weather nail. And playing records and those kind of old school things that really were community radio. We would talk about the school lunches.
Okay.
So
like what they were having for...
Yeah, your school lunch for today.
And where was this at?
This was in Walton, New York.
Walton, New York.
Yes, which is near Binghamton. It's out in the middle of New York. And so let me go back a little further. When I was 7 years old, my mom bought me a horse. Okay.
As one does.
Yeah. Every girl wanted a pony for Christmas, right? I got one. I've got a bad sense of balance and a fear of heights. So it was not a good thing. So I kept falling off the horses.
Yeah.
My sister was a natural. So we had to go to horse shows every weekend, and I would get bored. And at the ripe old age of 9, I started talking on a microphone because they needed someone to announce the horse shows.
Oh, okay.
So I turned those lemons into lemonade. And then when I turned 16, the owner of the local radio station heard me on the microphone and said, give me a call when you have your driver's license. I'll give you a job. And so that's how I got into radio.
Okay.
So, yeah. And I love that old school radio feel of community. Different voices from the community telling their stories. As I've progressed, radio has changed a lot. And corporate radio has taken over a majority of the radio space. And they're not doing local things. They're not talking with Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and things like that. And I wanted to do that. So I quit my corporate job. I called a guy who used to be my intern, who is now my supervisor. And I said, I want to do local radio like you do. And he's like, okay. And he talked to the owner of the radio stations, because it's a small locally owned radio group. And they created a spot for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so special when an organization comes behind you and you're like, hey, I want, this is the niche. This is my passion.
Yep.
I want to get back into it. And they're like, yeah, come on, let's figure out how we want to do this.
Yeah. What helps is we're all on the same kind of page. We all want the same thing. We want that old school community radio feel. And there's nothing wrong with corporate radio. It's great. They do great things on a grand level. But I want to talk about what's happening in Laconia and Meredith and Wolfboro. I don't want to talk about Maroon 5 anymore.
Yeah.
I'm done with that. I want to have people in my studio and showcase the good that's happening in our area.
How long have you been doing the good news story of the day?
In one form or another, I've been doing it for well over a decade.
Okay.
So I started doing it. I was what they call voice tracking. I was recording a show for Portland, Maine. from Manchester, New Hampshire every day.
Okay.
And I, wanted something good in the afternoon. I didn't have a lot of local show prep because I wasn't in Maine. So I'd take a national good news story and I'd read it. Well, once I came to Lakes FM, I realized I wanted to do more community stuff. So I started reading good news stories out of the paper. And then a friend of mine, Shannon Stevens, who works over at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, I'm like, come on in and I'll record you doing the good news story about the children's charities that they have. And it worked out. At the time, our station was in Concord, so it was hard for people to get there.
Yeah.
But then we moved to the Belknap Marketplace, and so it's very convenient. And as you know, you've been in. I have not read a story for the good news story of the day in over 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
It's been a community voice every day since then.
And you do it Monday through Friday?
Yeah, there's 5 a week.
Oh my gosh. How many differing organizations do you bring in? Is it, I know I've been in there multiple times, right?
Yeah.
But it always seems like there is a different story and a different group coming in all the time. So how many, do you know of how many different organizations?
I have no clue. I mean, there are some organizations like Partnership for Public Health. I get in once every other month because you guys are doing such great work all the time and it's different. But I have the Meredith Library and I had, so the Laker bots from Interlakes just went to their national competition. I had them in before they left to talk about that. It really depends. Sometimes I had Nancy Corliss from the Laconia Friendship Club in the other day. So it's organizations, people, doing great things in our area. And there's so many of them. I want to showcase them. Plus I got 5 a week.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of variety.
Yeah. So much. Around the state, because you're doing this for the Lakes region, right? So around the state, what are there any other community radio stations doing this? What does radio in general look like across New Hampshire, right? And then in terms of what you do in the good news story and that community focused feel, what does that look like across the state?
So mostly across the state, a lot of radio stations are owned by corporations. So it's a lot of cookie cutter kind of thing because it's about the profit line.
Yeah.
It's easier for one person like me to, be on multiple stations for them. What I like about where I am is that I'm on my station. Every once in a while, you might hear me on one of our sister stations.
Yeah.
But my main focus is my station. And my main focus is trying to get voices on and get information out for our area. There are a number of radio stations who try throughout the country who try to do things like that. I know that Fred Caruso and Pat Kelly over at Mix are always doing local stuff. We're not the norm, unfortunately, anymore, but hopefully we will be because they're starting to see that the way radio can connect, the thing that's different about radio is that it can be local, it can be community. And that's what makes us different from Pandora, from SiriusXM, from people just listening to podcasts. It is the local, it is the connection.
Yeah. That was going to be one of my next questions is how has the podcasting area, obviously you're on a podcast. So how has that kind of affected, not necessarily profit lines and all that,
it's a different
kind
listener.
Of higher level.
It's a different listener.
Yeah.
So radio is what people listen to if they want to hear music and they want to hear local information. If I want to hear about the Bear Brook murders, I'll listen to that podcast. Yeah. If I want to hear about, my favorite TV show behind the scenes, I'll listen to that podcast. It's a different kind of listening. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that makes total sense. And just that people who turn on a radio are intentionally doing that.
Yeah.
Sometimes a podcast is just like, you shuffle a group of, these are all the podcasts I've liked in the past.
Yeah. And not only that, but radio in most cases is what they call passive listening. So you're sitting at your desk, it's too quiet, you turn on the radio, and you're listening to your music, and you're like, oh, this is great. And be honest. If you turn on the radio and you hear one of your favorite songs, it hits different.
Oh, it does. If it's on the radio?
If it's like, oh, I love this song.
Yeah.
As opposed to, oh, I know it's coming up. It's on my playlist. It does. It hits different.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I always think back to like growing up. I had so many bands that I would listen to. And anytime I'd ever hear one of their songs on the radio, it always just felt, I was like, they've made it. Yeah. They've made it. They're on radio.
This is it.
Yeah.
But it's mostly passive listening until you hear something that catches your ear. And that's where radio, I think one of the saviors of radio is going to be podcasters because it's about storytelling, but it's in a shorter nugget than what you do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, we're doing this at this place next week. I have to tell a mini story to get your attention. So you listen, so you pay attention, so you want to join me.
Yeah.
Where a podcast, you've got more freedom to get into deeper discussions.
Yeah.
It's more of an active listening. Podcasting is active, where radio is passive until you give them something to really focus on.
Yeah. I was also just going to say it's kind of like podcast is more long form.
Yes.
Right? Versus radio where you are confined to your time.
Yep.
Right? Because your show has a specific time. Some podcasts try to do that, but
yeah.
I mean, it fails every time. Without hesitation. But kind of in that, what are some misconceptions that often come up about your like radio, your work?
Oh, it's glamorous. I make a ton of money. I meet so many celebrities. No. I have met some celebrities, but I mean, you know, the first question people ask me is, "Ooh, who have you interviewed?" I mean, I've interviewed some people. I've interviewed Sarah Silverman. I've interviewed Jared from Subway. That was just
when?
Before,
okay.
Way before. And it was on the phone.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've met Charles Shaughnessy, who I just fangirled over because I loved him on Days of Our Lives and The Nanny. But it's not all going to concerts.
Yeah.
Meeting people, and we don't get free tickets to go to concerts anymore. That doesn't happen.
Yeah. So
I mean, there are obvious perks every once in a while, but I mean, it's really not glamorous.
It's just you get to connect with people who want that connection. Is no longer of the old, I don't know, what you would see in like 70s and 80s movies where like the radio people are getting all the insider information.
It's not like the 1940s or the 1920s or, where they were, radio. It's like, you're who? What station? Oh, my favorite one is, I don't listen to radio. Okay, that's fine. That's great.
Yeah.
You do you.
This actually, my father-in-law was in radio for many years back in Missouri, and one time his station did go on a cruise with him, right? And so he was at the cruise. He was
double-edged sword.
He was walking around and talking to people, and they were like, "When are we going to meet this guy?" And he was like, "Hi, nice to meet you.
It's me. I'm the problem. It's me." No, doing events like that are double-edged swords because, oh, you're on vacation. Nope, you're working. Mm-hmm. Like, there are days I get home and I'm exhausted. Now, it's not an exhausting job.
Yeah.
But, like, perfect example is Greater Lakes Region Children's Auction. We're on the air from 9 a.m. in the morning to 7 at night. And I do get some breaks.
Yeah.
But try being happy and peppy and in a great mood and high energy the entire day.
No.
It's
not happening.
It's emotionally, it could be exhausting.
Yeah.
And, you have to watch sometimes. We've talked off air. I mean,
yeah,
I am who I am, and 99.9% I'm honest on the radio, but
you sometimes can't.
I can drop some colorful language when the microphone's not around.
Speaking of when the microphone's not around.
Yes.
Do you have a different radio voice versus normal voice?
Oh, yeah.
What can you give us a...
Okay, so Lakes 101.5, Heather Bishop, weekday afternoons from 3 until 8 p.m. But if I'm over on 104.9 The Hawk, it drops a little bit lower in the chest and it's a little bit breathier. But if I'm on, say, a CHR, where coming up next, we're going to hear from Lizzo. We're going to hear some Sabrina Carpenter. You got to move the voice and the personality to the person you're talking to. So with Lakes, it's more me because it's more relaxed and I'm talking to mostly women. That's our core demographic.
Okay.
With a Hawk, it's more towards men and they like the lower.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you're talking for a CHR and you're talking about like Sabrina Carpenter and oh my God, did you see Saturday Night Live this week? It was amazing. Olivia Rodrigo doing both music and...
Oh my God.
Oh, chef's kiss. So it all depends on what station, what kind of music you're playing.
What's a CHR?
Contemporary hit radio. So
okay.
Yeah.
Just top 40s.
Sorry. Yes, I forgot. I've been in this since the 1900s. I forgot I have to explain. I love how you sent me a rundown sheet and it said, for those under 25, what is radio?
That was good, yeah. What?
I almost canceled.
Can you, this is just, you have a degree in radio?
I have an Associate's of Applied Sciences in Radio, Television, Broadcasting from the prestigious Herkimer County Community College in Herkimer, New York.
I love that. I love the county college name. And, oh my gosh, Herkimer.
Yeah.
I'm going to just, that.
It's near Syracuse.
Okay.
Yeah.
With that, though, for those under 25,
yeah,
I want to give you, can you in 30 seconds explain how radio works?
Oh, I don't know how radio works. Like, we talk into a microphone, it goes into some wires, it goes to the transmitter, it goes up a giant antenna and then goes out. Like, there are radio waves everywhere. There's radio waves right there. We're everywhere. It's like, you've ever seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Yeah.
It's like Mike TV. He's everywhere.
I love that. Kind of going back to a little bit of like competition you face, doing good news all the time. How do you compete with the bad news?
I don't.
You don't.
Bad news is everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. I'm just trying to put a little positivity in the world. Like, I have anxiety and depression. And I always have. And so radio was one of the things that actually helped me as a teenager. Because whenever I was feeling lonely and alone and sad, I would turn on the radio and there would be a happy voice and music. And that would put me in a good mood and that would help me. And so I just want to do that for somebody else. And there's so much bad news in the regular news that we need some positivity. And not only that, but I know a lot of people. I know that I've learned about a lot of organizations that I didn't know were available to us in the Lakes region by doing the Good News Story. And if I can share that information with others and help them out, like, did you know for new parents, there's a new diaper exchange in the Lakes region?
I did not know that.
So if someone's having a tough time, especially with gas prices and grocery prices, the way they are, there's a diaper exchange where you could get diapers for free. And if you have unopened packages of diapers because your baby outgrew them, you can donate them to other parents who may need them.
Instead of just like holding on to them or throwing them out. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, those are amazing programs that people don't know about.
No, that's absolutely... Hearing those kinds of stories of different organizations and what they do and being able to communicate that, right? That's everything because nobody knows everything.
It's community.
Yeah.
And we are so detached nowadays. We used to be attached by radio. Radio used to be
literally
the glue.
everybody you gather around.
Everybody would listen to the radio. Oh, is there school today? Listen to the radio. Now with so many multiple technologies at your fingertips, there's not one real conduit. Like, I'm on Facebook. You might be on TikTok. They might be on Instagram. There's no one real conduit except for radio, because radio is a free resource. It is the only real free resource we still have that everybody can access and get information from.
Yeah. I think right now it's very hard for that sense of community to happen because of the individualized. I mean, we talk about it on our like communication team all the time of should we just put all of the information everywhere, all the same exact information between our Instagram, our Facebook, our YouTube, on this podcast.
It goes back to when you asked me about the different voices that I do. You have to know who you're trying to talk to.
Exactly.
Like, you're not going to put the diaper exchange on probably Facebook, because to be honest with you, Facebook is us from the 1900s. Where like Insta, TikTok, that's where, you know, your
the younger people.
Yeah. That's where your 20 somethings are going to be.
That being able to diversify your content, exactly how it needs to be for the demographic you're trying to reach, right? How do you approach that in a kind of, I don't know, unimodal communication tool such as radio, right? You only have, do you try to break down some of your content so that different demographics might like certain portions of your show, or do you just full send it the same way the whole time through?
I full send it the same way the whole time, because I can't talk about the diapers because I could have grandmas listening. Or I could have, I've also found it weird that we play a lot of older music, which the younger generation actually likes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like Toto and ABBA and things like that. And I was very surprised when I DJ'd a friend of mine's 16-year-old's birthday. And I'm like, okay, what do you want to hear? And she's like, oh, do you have this woman named Dolly Parton? And I'm like, yeah.
Do you know who Dolly Parton is?
Yeah. You know, so I could have a younger listener.
Yeah.
You know, so radio is the place that it kind of transcends all ages.
Yeah. And it allows you to hit everybody.
Yeah. Or, you know, it's going to hit somebody who knows somebody. You know, like I said, the grandmothers or daycare provider, you know, somebody like that.
Yeah.
So
I think that's super, it's super important that we have these options of everybody has their own way to consume information and consume content, because it does allow us to get fed through the algorithm something that might matter to us or something that we might need to know about, purely because like that's what we're in. I do a lot of my algorithm is soundboards and stuff, but
nerd. Yeah, because you're 100% nerd.
Totally nerd.
Mine is dogs and Disney.
That makes so much sense for you.
So much sense.
So much sense. Heather is a Disney adult.
I am a Disney adult. I am a proud Disney adult.
Proud. How often do you go to Disney World?
It depends, but we are currently waiting till August.
You're holding it off. You're like, gotta wait.
I mean, I was just there for New Year's, so I gotta
8 months.
I mean, you know, it's difficult, but it's a price I have to pay.
Do you ever have like Disney withdrawals?
All the time. All the time.
I'm assuming you subscribe to Disney Plus. And do you just
like
constantly watch it?
I was an OG member of Disney Plus. Like, I signed up a year and a half before it was on.
Oh my God.
I prepaid for the first 3 years before it was on.
You were so ready for it.
I'm like, yes. I almost called in sick the first day, but I didn't. I went to work. Because I'm a professional.
As you've grown and changed with radio
over my many decades,
over your many couple years, What now do you wish you would have known when you first started? Kind of over the time, if you were reflecting back.
Oh, I wouldn't have listened to myself. I wouldn't have listened to myself. I thought I knew it. You know? But I did have a college professor who I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm only going to do this. And he's like, you need to be more flexible. If you want to be in this business for the long run, you need to be more amiable. You need to be, change up your things. When I first started in radio, I thought I'd be in Boston doing middays by the time I was 30. By the time I hit 30, I had a small child and I was working in Franklin, New Hampshire. And I was like, I don't want to go to Boston. I don't want that headache.
Yeah.
I'm happy doing local, small radio. Yeah. So I probably would have told myself to just don't take myself too seriously and just go with it.
Yeah. I think that's all you can do sometimes.
Yeah.
Is you are where you are.
Yeah.
When you're there. Like, yeah, having a plan, having a direction is good.
I was so serious. I'm going to be in Boston before
it's happening.
And then I'm like, I don't want to be in Boston because I had worked for other markets where they were bigger, not bigger than Boston, obviously. But they were, and it was all about your ratings. It wasn't about your product, what you made, or your listeners. It was about, well, what are our numbers? What is the profit margin? And I don't want to do that. I would rather do what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I'm fulfilled. I'm happy. I'm doing good stuff. People are interacting with it. People are responding to it. I'm making good content for my area.
Yeah.
If somebody is listening in Arizona, they're not going to get it. And that's fine.
You're A-okay with that.
I'm 100% okay with that.
Do you ever find yourself looking through and finding very random places, tuning into your shows? Or
I see that sometimes. We have because we stream, you can go on the internet and see where people are listening from. And I'll be like, somebody's listening in Guam? Okay. All right. We get in the winter, we get a lot of listeners in Florida.
That makes
and
sense.
Arizona.
Snowbirds.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. They want to keep up to date on what's going on at home. So they don't miss anything when they come back.
Yeah. You talked a little bit earlier about the diaper exchange and stuff. And when you're talking about producing a good product, right? What other good news stories have stood out to you? You've talked a little bit about, the children's auction, diaper stories, stuff like that.
So one of the ones that's really close to my heart is anything with mental health awareness. I have said I suffer from anxiety and depression. Over a year ago, I lost someone extremely close to me through, I like to say she lost her battle with mental health. She took her own life. It's a hard subject to talk about, but the more we talk about it, the easier it is to talk about. And it's so important that we do talk about it, because when I was growing up, my parents had mental health struggles and we weren't allowed to talk about it. We had to pretend that everything was perfect, that everything was great. And now that they're gone, I feel I can tell my true story and what I've gone through. And I remember the first time I talked about it on the air, the owner of our radio station, Dirk, comes in and looks at me and goes, I heard that. And I was worried that I was going to get in trouble for sharing too much on the air. And he's like, keep it up. I'm proud of you. You did a great job. That was a hard thing to say. And so by telling these stories, by doing these things, by saying the hard stuff, but in a good way, in a light way, we can open up those difficult conversations and erase the stigma, or at least lessen the stigma. And that's what I want to do.
Yeah, especially May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes.
And so you brought it right back to that.
Yeah.
I think it's super important right now that, especially in exactly what you're doing, there is, in the good news, right? Highlighting what's working, talking about your own mental health struggles, talking about what else needs to be talked about, what else we need to be discussing to bring these out into the light, because a lot of times we just push it down.
Yeah.
And right now there is the bad news, for lack of a better term, right? The other just real news that's happening.
The real news can be so overwhelming and so heavy on you. What I try to do is, there are sometimes organizations will come to me and be like, I want to talk about this. Well, this is a heavy subject. Let's find the silver lining. Let's find a positive part of this. The Jake DeWare Kindness Project. Have you heard about that?
No.
Jake was an amazing young man who died in a accident, and he was full of life. And I believe he was in his late teens, early 20s. And just devastating loss to his family and the community of Belmont. His mom decided to take his memory and turn positivity into it, because that's what Jake did. He would help anybody out. He would be there and throw kindness. So that's what they do, is they do positive little good deeds or painted rocks or little things like that to spread the positivity. That is something that could have devastated her. It would have knocked any parent out completely. After she picked herself up, she realized he would want me to go on. He would still be doing these kindness things. Let's keep them going, even though he's not here.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's
a heavy subject.
Heavy. But
we're finding the positivity in it. And that's what we have to do, especially now with the news the way it is. Like, there are days I can't watch the news. I can't. My anxiety is too high. But there's nothing I can do on a national level.
Yeah.
There are things I can do on a local level. There are always things you can do on a local level.
And there's things that you can bring out on a local level, right? We can highlight what's working, right? Not always talking about what's not working.
Yep.
Right? See where there are success stories, where there's good happening in our community, and where, you know what, you don't need to stress about this, because guess what?
Yeah.
You don't need to stress about CPR classes, because guess what? PPH has got it covered. And come to one, right? Yep. You can highlight the things. Here's where stress can be taken out of your life a little bit by highlighting the.
Here's where you have some control. I think part of our problem too as a society is that we get so overwhelmed by the fact that we don't have control over a lot of the things going on in our world right now. Well, you're worried about climate change? Well, plant a garden. You're worried about children's welfare? Well, volunteer for CASA. Those are little things that we can do on a local level to gain some of our control back and to help the greater good. And that's what I believe in.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head, obviously, of control is all that it is, right? Yeah. I love to stay in the know. Right. If I pulled out my phone right now, to my own detriment. My wife and I talk about it all the time. But if I pulled out my phone right now, I would probably have 15 news dedicated sort of notifications, right?
Yeah.
Talking about whatever's happening. And out of all those 15 news notifications on my phone, if I have 20 notifications, the other 5 are a couple junk emails.
Yeah.
And maybe one in there is something that's like, this is okay.
This is good.
Right. Or it's my mom texting me that she loves me. Right?
That's important.
Very important. Very good. And so in all of that, I think control is 100% where it is. It's like, if I can stay in the know, maybe that will ease my anxiety, but no. Yeah. I'm just like, I get more anxious because I'm like, I can't do anything.
I can't do anything. And my amazing therapist, because I go to therapy, my amazing therapist helped me kind of like, okay, if you feel yourself spiraling, stop and think, okay, what can I do locally? What can I do right now to get myself out of the spiral? Okay, let's find the good in a bad situation. My friend Laura passed away from losing her mental health battle. What can I do in her memory to help the greater good. I can talk about mental health. She was also a big fan of helping to feed the hungry. She would keep cans of food and plastic utensils in her car. So if she saw someone who was unhoused, she would give them like a thing of ravioli and a toothbrush and some plastic utensils, because that was easy for them to have. So it's horrible that she's gone. Horrible. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I can do in my control to help her live on and to help make the world more positive.
I love that. I think that's super, it's awesome. It's all it is.
But it's all we can do.
Yeah.
Because if not, then we just find ourselves rocking in the corner, sucking our thumb, going, oh, it's been a horrible day. And I've done that. It does nobody any good. So instead, we're allowed a little pity party for ourselves. But then we have to move on and we have to figure out, okay, this is a situation. What can I control? What can I do positively? Like you are. You're like, hey, I like to talk. I like to be in front of people. I like to be on TV. I could do a podcast.
Yeah.
I can bring people to light and information to light that others may not know about. That's all we can do is what's in our control. That's what I've learned in my many, 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 many years, my dear.
You're 1 or 2 years.
As someone old enough to be your mom, that's my words of wisdom for you, young man.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Before we go, I just want to do a couple rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So, first name, first thing that comes to mind with these.
Okay.
Funniest guest you've ever had?
Tony V.
Tony V. Who's Tony V?
Tony V's a comedian.
But that makes sense.
Yeah. So Tony V, Bob Marley, Jimmy Dunn.
Okay.
They're all New England comedians. Tony V was actually in a Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay. One of the Dunkin' ones?
I don't know if it was one of the Dunkin' ones, but it was one of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most unexpected moment on air?
I would have to say at any fair, we do the sandwich fair. There's always somebody coming up and asking questions while they see me with my headphones talking on the radio. They can hear me in the speaker. And do you know where the bathroom is? Don't mind me. I'm on the radio.
Do you have a response to that ever, or do you just ignore them?
I keep going, and then if they really push it, I'm like, I'm talking on the radio right now. Sorry about that. Somebody was asking me where the bathroom was.
I love that. What's one word to describe your job?
Awesome. I mean, I get paid to sit in a padded room and talk to myself all day. I mean,
you get paid for it at least.
Yeah.
Some of us just do it for free.
I mean, I know. I know. It's really, I'm very, very, very happy. And there have been rough patches. Like COVID was horrific because there was nothing to talk about.
Yeah. Everybody's just like...
And I had to be happy and peppy and bring morale up for everybody who's sitting at home by themselves. And nothing had changed for me. I was still going into work, but there was nothing to talk about. So it's like, yeah, that was hard. But now life is back and the sun is shining and things are happening and life is good.
Have you ever had a good news story suggestion that you said either no to, or it was just weird and you were very hesitant at first about it?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I try to find ways to turn almost anything into positivity. Yeah. There's got to be something good about it. Like, there's got to be.
Yeah.
Even if there's a multi-vehicle car crash, there's got to be, okay, here's the story of the guy who got out of his car and gave the shirt off his back for someone. There's got, even during COVID, there was good stuff happening. You just had to really look for it.
That's all we can do.
That's all we can do.
And that's exactly what you're trying to do with your good news stories is, as we said, highlight the good.
Yeah.
Show where there's good happening out there in our community.
Yep. And take control of what you can do. Don't let everything else control you.
Thank you so much for being here, Heather.
You're very welcome. I'm sorry I kind of hijacked your podcast. I feel.
That's what this is for. I like listening. That's what I'm here for. I talk. I do a whole monologue. I talk for 5-10 minutes before this, and then we highlight you. I like it. Thank you so much for being here.
You're very welcome. I had fun. This is like one of the first times I've ever been interviewed, so it's nice being on this side.
The other side.
That's very weird.
What I appreciated about our conversation today is that we went in multiple different directions I didn't expect to go into. I didn't expect to start talking about mental health in a conversation that started just talking about radio. Right? That's how our conversations always go. And Heather is great about guiding the conversations. Make sure to tune in and listen to the good news stories of the day that she has. And we always appreciate you listening to our conversations here on this show. Subscribe and follow so you don't miss what's coming next. You can find us at pphnh.org or on social at pphnh. This conversation went long, as they all do, so you can check out the full conversation on our YouTube. Better Together is a partnership for public health production. It is written by myself, Tessa, and Emma, which is why there's random community health needs ads in the middle of it. Our producers are myself, Jonathan Lau Sexton, and Emma Peterson with technical direction from Tessa Donahue. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.